This will be a video that explains how to attach MyMathLab to your math course within my courses. That said, what you'll have to have though is an account with Pearson where you've identified yourself as part of Blue Ridge Community College. And to set up an account with Pearson, you just go to pearson.com, you'll click sign in, you can just scroll down to say you want to create an account, you'll register as you might imagine, and then you'll close out completely, but you'll have your username and you will have your password at the ready. Also, it's worth knowing the ISBN, the International Standard Book Number, if you're setting this up from scratch. If you've logged in on Pearson and you've taken care of that, go ahead and log out on that side. And it's important that all the rest of this you do through my courses, so it'll naturally make a connection to my courses and your grades will transfer. If you try to do it on the Pearson side instead, it will agree with you, but then it won't sync with my courses. Be aware of that. So what we'll do is pretty straightforward. We're going to come down here at the bottom of our course shell. We're going to go to Course Dashboard, and then what we're going to do is we're going to go to Edit Blocks. And then we'll come over to where it says Add a Block, and we'll scroll down to where it says Pearson, MyLab, and Mastering. We'll select that. You'll then go to the second link down. It says Use Pearson, MyLab, and Mastering Tools. Link to get started. So that's the link. Now this is the frame that you'll see open, and you can be in Firefox or Chrome, but you're going to come down here and get started. There's a chance that it's going to ask if you can use a pop-up. The answer has to be yes, because it uses pop-ups to interact with the faculty member. This has brought up Universal Terms of Service and End User License Agreement. This is called a EULA, and we have to accept that to move forward. If you don't get that, it means you've already probably done it. Now you're going to have to sign into your Pearson account. Then I'll sign in, and obviously I'll choose Get Started. Now I have the ISBN number, as we mentioned earlier. That's important, and so I'm going to make sure I get the exact correct book, and I'm going to hit search here, and it will bring up the appropriate book, and I will say select. Alright, you have a couple of course types here. We have instructor use course or student use course. An instructor use course is only if you are just looking at it for yourself. You're not going to be sharing it with students, but for most all purposes you're going to be using this for sharing with your students. So it's important that little box is checked. I have put in the course name that shows up on the syllabus here. I also start with 2025 spring, assuming it's 2025, and that way I won't confuse this with another course myself when I come back to this later, because I can pull up this same book semester after semester. Now the description here, the students won't see this, only you will, so if you're going to pull this up later, you want to use whatever notation that you would use that will make this the most readily understandable for you. So I put in pre-cal algebra, the number, and spring 2025. I put in the appropriate course dates, the start and end within the syllabus. If you have a reason to think that you might have to leave it open for a little while longer while you make some corrections, or you allow students to do something after the close date, you can put that in here. That won't affect the gradebook at all. But that's all there is to this, and then I'm going to go ahead and hit Create Course. And now it says it's going to be ready in about 3 hours, at which time I'll be able to go in and then pull it up on my, my course's site. And here's the email. It just says, hey, it's ready. Now this didn't take 3 hours, but during a busy time of the year it could take that long, so don't be too eager. Now you'll see some information is here that'll talk about you want to share with the students this, download the student registration instructions and send to your students. So this email is sort of important. Keep up with that. If I come back to the course itself, and down here you see there it is, it's set up, and that'll begin syncing it automatically with this course. But you can't go to the Pearson side and do this. You can only do this through my courses after you have that initially set up. So I'm going to go ahead and select that, and this now is linking my Pearson account with this tool, and then I can climb right in there, and you'll see the information I have and how I can go about setting this up. This will not be a thorough introduction to the Pearson MyMathLab or how to set that up, but I will show you a couple of things about how it informs the gradebook, and I'll give you a couple ideas of how some instructors say they are using it and it works well for them. So this is essentially your landing page. I'm going to go over here, I'm going to go to Student Gradebook, then I'm going to come over here and then click Manage View. And then I go to Manage, and now I've got some other options here. What I want to look at is Grade Sync Settings. Now here's the three options here. You have raw scores. This means if there's a 15-point quiz, 15 points will show up in the gradebook if they got 100%. However, if you make it a weighted score, if they have a 15-point quiz and they get all 15, it's 100%. If they got a 15 out of 20, it would be a 75%. And those weights, that 100 and that 75, would appear in my courses. To recap, if you make the weight 30 instead of 15, then if they've got 50%, they would get a 15 out of the 30. So basically you're going to see that math here. It says if the assignment weight is 30 points and the student's raw score is 10 out of 20, then the weighted score will be 15 out of 30. So they just use that percentage. Now understand, you can use this and you can make the weight say 100 or 10 on each of these, and it will put that number down. It'll put the weighted number in there. However, if you use the raw score instead, then you can change the weight at the My Courses level, because we can change the weight down there. It's my suggestion that you go ahead and move your raw scores down, and then you change the weight within My Courses rather than doing it on the Pearson side. And then the overall score is just going to give you the average they have on My Pearson as a whole, so you don't want to use that. Now let's see how this looks once there's some scores in it. Oh, and let me stop here and remind you, please make sure you check that send to Moodle box right there. Otherwise, it won't send to Moodle. That's crucial. So this is what it looks like on the Pearson side. You can see that this one has chosen to redo assignment weights on the right-hand side. But this will appear in this fashion on the Pearson side. And now if we go back to the gradebook itself, we can come over here, and then after you get in there, you can see you can change not only the weights of the categories themselves, whether it's homework or quizzes or whatnot, but you can also change the weight of the individual items here. But once again, it may be better not to do that, but I wanted to have you take a look at what that looks like and how you can change categories. That's self-evident right there, and I hope this was helpful. You have a nice day.